What is up, guys, and welcome back to another episode here with some Pot Limit Omaha content. Hope you are all doing well and that you're ready to join me to jump into the action today, playing two tables of Rush and Cash PLO 50 on GG Poker. Guys, if you like this content, make sure you subscribe to my channel, give the video a thumbs up, and check out plomastermind.com if you want to learn more about Pot Limit Omaha. We're jumping into the action. This is a two-tabling live session. On the left, ace 10-9-3, suited to the 10. Not a great hand, but I think I will go ahead and open raise this one. I do believe, usually, unless you have a strong read, a lot of the players will not 3-bet enough from the blinds, and therefore you can get away by open raising slightly wider, I think. Anyway, I do open raise and we do take it down. And let's see what's going to happen, guys, today in this session. I might jump into a post analysis every now and then in case an interesting spot comes up. But let's see. On the left side, king, queen, queen, jack, double. Great hand, but against an under the gun range, usually you just want to go ahead and call. Let's take a brief look into PLO Trainer to see how this spot would play out in theory. We face an under the gun open and I'm sitting in the cutoff in this situation. Using the rake structure of GG Poker PLO 50 up to PLO 200, we can see that we are supposed to cold call only 6.5% and 3-bet 5.5%. Now the hand class I would like to look into is Broadway double suited pairs. So I'm going to go to the categories on the top right. Look at one pair double suited variations and we can see that from all the one pair double suited hands we can have, 17% of the time we are supposed to 3-bet. If I open up this hand class further, we can see that aces are 3-betting always. But I'm specifically interested in the Broadway pairs, and we can see that Broadway pairs are 3-betting only 17% of the time. Opening up this further, if we have a Broadway pair with an ace, 3-betting makes a ton of sense because we are blocking ace-ace and therefore reducing the chance that we're facing a 4-bet. But if we have king-king or queen-queen double suited without an ace, we can see that we're pretty much calling most of the time, sometimes folding and only 3-betting 3%. If I open up this range, you can see that only king-king 10-9, queen-queen 10-9, and queen-queen 9-8 are a 3-bet in theory. I think simplifying this to just call all of these variations and folding the worst makes a lot of sense. And this illustrates that king, queen, queen, jack, the double suited variation that I was holding, is supposed to be a call. Now, one additional note, if we look into the EV difference, so we compare calling with the next best action. So what would the difference be with 3-betting here? We can see that 3-betting would be 0.56 big blind worse than calling. So quite a large mistake if you decide to 3-bet this variation. In other words, calling here is by far the best play. And on the right side, I do go ahead and call. Actually, I didn't see the min raise. That's a mistake. This should have been a fold on the right. I thought it was a raise and a call. But this was apparently a min raise. On the left side, I think we can go bet or check. It's pretty close. I think I'll go for a small bet here. Ideally, I get a fold. If I get called, I still have backup and equity. We can deny a little bit of equity against a flush draw, for example, or an ace. And usually people do end up check folding a little bit too often, not check raising enough. And therefore, I will not get punished enough in my experience. Anyway, I do bet we take it down. And on the left side, king 10, 9, 7, double. Pretty nice looking hand. A lot of things going on. This is a hand class that 3-betting with makes a lot of sense. When the stacks get more shallow, 3-betting is a little bit less interesting because this hand does benefit from, like, if we get it in pre-flop, it's not going to be great, right? We do face the 4-bet, unfortunately. I do still think this is actually a 3-bet at like 30 bigs, or what is it, 60 bigs? I'm going to end up making the call here. And The money, of course, will go in, flopping a straight and a flush draw. 97.68%, guys. That's not too bad. Not too bad of a start. Taking it down against ace, ace, 7, 4. And yeah, that's a good start of the session. Guys, how has it been going on your side? Have you been playing a lot recently? What games have you been jumping into? Let me know below in the comments. Share some ideas. Share your experience recently. On the left side, this is a hand. If it was be suited to the ace, I would make the call. But suited to the king, I'm just going to go and let it go immediately. You don't want to be very selective in multi-way pots or in multi-way scenarios pre-flop because you don't want to be dominated. Ace, 8, 7, 5 single on the left side. This would be a hand that I like to open with. And on the right, we flop top set and a straight blocker. Pretty good hand. This is a board where my opponent will do quite well. At least he should do quite well. And on the left, ace 8. I think I'm going to start just with a bet here. Trying to get some value from an overpair, for example. Or a 4, which would be great now because the 4 does improve. And I'm going to bet... I'm going to bet this sizing. It's difficult to find your bluffs on a board like this. They will come from maybe a straight draw or like a 7-9 type of hand, blocking some 8x combos. And on the river, I'm going to go ahead and block my hand. I mean, maybe I should go actually a little bit bigger now that I think of it. Like, we're still beating every 8x and every 4x, basically. And if he has king 8, king 4, or king king, like, there's not much else we can do when he's just going to raise. Yeah, I don't like this bet, to be honest. I think we should go a bit bigger. In hindsight. We do see the call. Ah, we get called by ace 9, 9, 7. Well, against that hand, this sizing actually is good because he would probably fold against a large bet. But think about those spots, right, where it's difficult to find your bluffs. You got to be more creative in a sense and really dig deeper into your range, because on 8, 8, 4, 4, like, where do your bluffs come from, right? You don't have a lot of natural bluffs in the sense of like pair blockers, for example. On the right side, we do open raise against a button limp. Pretty good flop. We're just betting 1/3. And on the left, like, this player is a little bit tight. I mean, we're going to go ahead and squeeze, actually. We're going to go ahead and squeeze this one. We don't want to see the 4-bet on the left, that's for sure. We don't want to see the 4-bet, but I think my hand is definitely strong enough. Double suited king, king. Unfortunately, we do face a 4-bet. And right now, guys, this is a spot where I'm going to have to make the fold. Like, I'm just going to be up against ace-ace way too often. And my hand will perform not that great against an ace-ace heavy range, of course. So we're going to have to make the fold. Let's open up PLO Trainer one more time and take a brief look into this squeezing situation. We're in the big blind, king, king, queen, 5 double suited. We face a raise for middle position and a button cold call. Now, we don't have the mixed stack size scenario in PLO Trainer available at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the 200 big blind solution and the 100 big blind solution. First up, we are supposed to squeeze only 4.1% of the time at 200 big blinds. And if I would open up the same situation at 100 big blinds, let's see what the difference is going to be. I imagine that at 100 big blinds, we're going to squeeze more often because we have less of a positional disadvantage. We can get more money in pre-flop. Now, the difference is not as large as I would expect it to be. Only 5.4% of the time we are squeezing, while at 200 big blinds, we are squeezing 4.1%. Now, if I would search for king, king, a double suited, what is going to happen at 200 big blinds? Well, we are squeezing 88.4% of the time. So most of the double suited kings we're supposed to squeeze, only calling the most disconnected ones. What about 100 big blinds? In this solution, we are squeezing a little bit more, no surprise, 97.3%. Now, what happens if we do squeeze and my opponent comes over the top? Specifically at 200 big blinds, I'm interested in how often we are supposed to fold with king double suited, and the answer is actually 94.9%. So very important to, after the squeeze, don't make the mistake of calling against the 4-bet. What about 100 big blinds? Let's say we squeeze and our opponent comes over the top. What about king double suited? We are folding 70.8%. So in this scenario, we are able to continue a little bit more often. If we have an ace or if we have a double paired king hand, we can get away by calling. And if not, make sure to fold very often with your kings against a 4-bet. Jack 9-7-4 single on the left side. This is too weak of a hand to raise with. Now king 9-9-3 is a bit more interesting, but the small blind here is pretty loose. So I'm gonna let this one go. Against two tight players, I think open raising that hand is not that bad. And king 10-5-4 on the left. Again, this is too weak of a hand to open raise with. Ace king queen 4 rainbow on the right side. Interesting combination because we do have a lot of things going on if we would have the chance to open raise. Of course, against a raise, I'm gonna have an easy fold. But otherwise, with 3 Broadway cards in the cutoff, you can get away by open raising quite a lot of these variations because you're blocking a lot of your opponent's continuing range, especially their 3-betting range. 10-9 deuce trip suited against the min raise. I mean, I'm gonna defend. It's of course loose, but the price is just very good. And on the right side, I'm gonna make the call. Pretty strong flop for my hand. Now on the left, what do we do? I think I'm just gonna pot it and take it from there. And on the right side, I'm gonna raise it up actually. Thinking about like raising small. But on these dynamic boards, I like to put more pressure on my opponent going large or as large as possible, while on more static boards like raising small and leveraging your advantage of having those strong hands because you raise over multiple streets. So I think raising large there makes more sense. On the left side, ace jack 10 deuce. It would definitely be an open raise if I had the chance to. Now with a limp, it's a little bit less good of a situation because there's one player already investing money basically that I have to try to fold out. But I would say it's still okay-ish. So I'm gonna go for it. And on the flop, we flop a gutter and that's about it. Against a pot, we will have an easy fold. On the right side, we got some extra money in the pot. 10 big blinds. Pot size raise, call. It is tempting, but my hand, of course, is very, very weak. So I'm just gonna let it go. And on the left, I defend king 9 deuce. This is one of the worst kings that I have. On 8-7-5, I will have a leading range. My pre-flop defending range will do okay-ish here. My opponent, he's pretty tight, so I think he has usually overcards. Check. Try to go for a check raise on the river on the left. There we go. Gonna check raise pot. Like his range is super capped. So I would imagine like this is also a spot that you can exploitatively attack quite a bit. Like once they check twice, if you make sure that you still have strong hands in your range there, you can sort of support it to check raise there and also add in bluffs. And if you know that your opponent's range is super weak and capped, like being a bit more aggressive there, I don't think necessarily is bad. Of course, against the right players it works, not against everyone. On the right side, I will play this hand. Against the raise, it's not great, but I will still call. The problem is that this player is a little bit shorter. King Jack 5, we're just gonna make the fold. King 6-6. This is a hand we're definitely gonna play. Potting. An A7 4-3 on the left is too weak. Double suited, this hand would be a fine open. Ace King Queen 9, pretty good looking hand from under the gun. And we flop very strong. We flop very strong. Usually on king eye boards, we want to do a lot of checking. I'm gonna check. I do have a lot of blockers to the board. Give my opponent. I'm gonna check raise. I'm gonna check raise. And it's just a little bit too strong, I would say, to consider calling. Like we could go, but like getting more money into the pot at this point, I think is a pretty good idea. On the right side, like this player has VPIP of 5 after 21 hands. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter what hand I would have. I would open raise all of them if someone plays VPIP 5 after 20 hands. So I would open raise my entire range in this spot. And he does make the fold. So we take down the blinds. And that's those small things, guys, they can make a huge difference on your bottom line. And especially in these fast forward pools, whether it's on GG or Stars, for example, like there are a lot of players who will click the auto fold option too quickly. And that can definitely benefit you. On the right side, I'm gonna defend. 9965. Terrible flop. Just check folding. And on the left, ace king 7-7. This is not a great hand, but the fact that we have the ace and the king and a suit to the ace is pretty good. We get 3-bet. Looking at this player so far after 23 hands, he does seems to be pretty tight, but we will have to make the call in position and take it from there. This is one of the better flops, I would say, we can have. I'm gonna bet. Now the question is what sizing? I'm gonna go for this sizing. And if he check raise, we do have to go for it. Top set on table number 2 after 3 betting. And now on the left, we do want to size down, I would say. We want to leverage this nut advantage over multiple streets. And I think going something like 7 is pretty good. And on the right, my opponent leads into me, That is a pretty good turn on the right. This is a pretty good turn. Now on the left, I get check raised, which is, I mean, we just have to call. Not much else we can do. And on the right, let's be tricky. Let's be tricky. Like if he has spades, like he will just check fold. Trying to give him some room to bluff. And on the left side, of course, we will go ahead. Bet it. He probably has like a king of diamonds, maybe a queen of diamonds. Look at this on the right. Cool stuff, cool stuff. There we go. running hot. Let's see, what do you have? Can he make the fold? Can he make the fold? A lot of blockers on the turn, therefore I decided to check back. I think betting small is also okay. Like in this situation, it's really hard to find bluffs in my shoes, right? Wow, look at this. Look at this. That's pretty sick. I should have just bet the turn now. I should have just bet the turn. Beautiful looking hand on the left. Ace Queen 10-9 double. This is also a tight player. Look at this. Like this is one of those hands where 4-betting makes a good amount of sense. However, against a super tight player, I'm not sure if we want to do it. I'm not sure if we want to do it. I mean, I think now with so many players in, we just have to go for it. Yeah, this sucks. This sucks. Of course he has aces. Of course he has aces. Oh my god. Damn it, damn it, damn it. King. King or backdoor clubs, backdoor spades. Give me something. I mean, should just have called. Should just have called. Like, this player is so tight. Why do I do it? Why do I do it? So we lose against the flush. Unfortunately, I don't know, like pre-flop, I maybe just should fold or should call there. I don't know. Like these guys, they just have aces too often. They just have aces too often. Let's again open up PLO Trainer and investigate this a little bit further. In this situation, I'm open raising from under the gun, middle position 3 bets. The button makes the call. Now, in the actual hand, there is a big blind who also makes the call for 6 big blind or so. Now, we don't obviously have that available in here, so I'm just going to ignore that for now. So we're 3-way in this situation. The button in this GTO solution plays a very tight calling range against a raise and a 3-bet. I do believe in reality the button plays a lot more hands than what we can see in this pre-flop solution, making his range a little bit wider and therefore weaker. Now the middle position player is supposed to 3-bet roughly 6% in this pre-flop solution. And it might be true that in reality this player, he was actually quite tight, I think, and therefore he might 3-bet a little bit less, making his range a bit stronger. Anyway, when we open and we face a 3-bet and a call, we are 4-betting 20.5% of the time. I'm going to use the categories because I want to specifically focus on unpaired double suited variations on the top. That's the first category, 4-betting 12% of the time. If we have an ace high variation out of that is connected Broadway heavy, we are 4-betting 17%. So I'm going to filter for this range because my hand does make part of this specific hand class. We can see on the top right what variations are supposed to 4-bet. Ace, Queen, Jack, 10 double suited, Ace, King, Jack, 10 double suited. Like the very, very best ones, including Ace, Queen, 10, 9 double suited, which is in there as well. Let me filter for it. On the top right, we do see the 4-bet with Ace, Queen, 10, 9 double, which is my hand. If I look at the EV difference, I can actually see that there's a significant EV difference with the variations where I have the best possible suits. But I was holding in reality actually the ace and the queen of the same suit, which is actually the worst variation out of the 3 because I have one low suit, which is the 10 high basically. And therefore my hand is much less of a great 4-bet. The value there decreases, making calling better. And especially in reality, I think that calling against this player might be even better because he was very tight. Now, of course, we have the ace. We do block ace, ace, which plays a big role into the decision. But still, it's probably fairly close, and I might be better off just calling and taking it from there. It is what it is. It is what it is. On the right side, open raising queen, queen, jack 9. We flop a wrap and an overpair. We're just going to go ahead and check call on a very draw heavy straight board. My range also doesn't do as well. So we have to make sure to check also good hands in order to be able to check call, check raise. Otherwise, my opponent can just stab very often. He does bet into us and gonna make the call. Flush turn. Pretty bad turn. And on the left, I do 3-bet. We flop a bear over pair. No heart, no club, no backdoor club, nothing. We're just gonna check. We don't want to bet and get it in here. And on the right, unfortunately, we have to fold. And on the left, we do turn the open-ender. I will have to make the call. We're still beating his bluffs. There are draws out there still. And we do have some equity. Not much we can do. We just have to fold. And we also fold this. And that's going to be it, guys, for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you do, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and check out plomastermind.com if you want to learn more about pot limit Omaha. Guys, catch you in the next one.